In this video, I want to compare the energetics of beta oxidation for fatty acids with even and odd numbers of carbons. As a reminder, both types of fatty acids must first go through the same 5 steps. Step 1 is acyl-CoA synthase. This is the activation of the fatty acid to fatty acyl-CoA, and this uses 2 high-energy phosphate bonds from the conversion of ATP to AMP. And so this is the equivalent of using 2 ATPs, because usually we're converting ATP to ADP. Steps 2 to 5 occur each time an acetyl-CoA is cleaved off of the fatty acyl-CoA. And so step 2 is acyl-CoA dehydrogenase, which makes FADH2 and enters the ETC to generate 1.5 ATP. Step 3 is enoyl-CoA hydratase. Step 4 is 3-L-hydroxyacyl-CoA dehydrogenase, which makes NADH. This enters the ETC and generates 2.5 ATP. And step 5 is beta-ketoacyl-CoA thiolase. So each time you cleave off of an acetyl-CoA, you make a total of 4 ATP. For odd-chain fatty acids only, you have 3 additional steps once you get to the 3-carbon propionyl-CoA molecule. And so these are propionyl-CoA carboxylase, which uses 1 high-energy phosphate bond. Step 2 is methylmalonyl-CoA racemase. And step 3 is methylmalonyl-CoA mutase. So if we compare C17 to C16, we see that C16 actually generates more ATP than C17. And so if we look at this in more detail, for C17, you have 7 cycles of cleaving off acetyl-CoA to end up with propionyl-CoA, which is the 3-carbon molecule. So for 7 cycles, you generate 7 FADH2, which gives you 10.5 ATP, 7 NADH, which gives you 17.5 ATP. And finally, the propionyl-CoA is converted to succinyl-CoA. And succinyl-CoA enters the TCA cycle to generate 5 ATP. And so you have a total of 103 ATP. However, you expend 3 ATP. 2 of them are from acyl-CoA synthase, and 1 is from biotin carboxylase, which is used in propionyl-CoA carboxylase. And so you have a net of 100 ATP. In comparison, for C16, you have 8 acetyl-CoAs. And so acetyl-CoA can enter the TCA cycle and generate 10 ATP. And so here you have an additional CoA because the 3-carbon molecule doesn't form. The very last molecule you end up with is an acetyl-CoA. This enters earlier in the TCA cycle than succinyl-CoA, so you have an additional 5 ATP. You still have 7 cycles of cleaving off acetyl-CoA, so you have the same number of FADH2 and NADH generated as C17. So here you have a total of 108 ATP. You also expend only 2 ATP because you don't need biotin carboxylase. You only use the 2 ATP for acyl-CoA synthetase. And so your net ATP generation is 106.